Hello, and welcome back to the Live Rally Game Podcast. My name is Steven, and I'm excited for more Reelfoot postseason coverage. Joining today to tell us about how he had two idols and how he found the idols and all the other things in this game is Eric. Eric, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm trying to figure out, Steven, this isn't working. Sorry.
Wait, Eric,
This
what's
isn't
happening?
working. This isn't working. I'm gonna need, can you give me 5 minutes?
Okay. Well,
This isn't, I don't know.
This might be a
It's not what I
podcast
thought
post
this
right
was
here.
gonna be. I thought this was gonna be a one-on-one. There's people showing up. It's just not what I had in mind.
I need to give you a better disclaimer before these things, don't I? All right. Well, there we go.
Right. Now we're ready. We're ready to get this thing going.
Oh, okay. I loved your flasks this season. I was watching, I'm envious of their water canteens. I'm envious of their backpacks. That's your original tribe?
They weren't backpacks. They were sleeping bags, And these flasks, I lost my flask for 2 days. I was like, Eric was like losing things. It was silly as can be. But
where was it?
I have no idea. I lost the cap, then I lost the bottle, then Sam ended up putting an E on one side of hers, and I shared hers for a day and a half, and then finally mine appeared. So then I was good.
So some of you is left behind in the wilderness of Tennessee then.
What's that?
Some of you has been left behind the wilderness.
Oh yeah, I'm still there. I'm still there in so many ways. It was so much fun. I want to go back. In fact, I've had experiences like this before where please don't end. Let's keep going. And I've texted with a few people who are like, let's do something else. Let's do another crazy out in the woods adventure.
Well,
I think I'm all for it too.
I gotta ask, how has the recovery post game been? It's been a couple weeks now. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I mean, so 2 steps with that. First, heading back into reality, which was pretty much right when my game ended. It was like, I don't want to go back to reality. You're going into a room with a lot more people there, and people are talking, and you get used to your small little group. I was like, the people are on cell phones. Why do you have a cell phone? But yeah, things are pretty good. I had a little scare the prior week. I got a bike accident, but I am okay. We don't want to go into that, but I'm okay.
You've played a decent amount of games. I've seen you play Outlast. I know you played Columbus Survivor. I think you mentioned you played a couple other games. Reelfoot is probably the longest experience you've had, and you were out there, I believe. I need to check. Did you make it to day 8 or you were on day 7?
I was end of day 7. Yep.
So easy to bounce back after that, or you're just like, there's a lot of me still there?
No, I bounced back, but yeah, I was loving it. I wanted it to continue. I was like, can we just keep going? I wasn't ready for it to end. I mean, usually what'll get me is the food. I start getting hungry, but at the last couple of days, we had so much food. We were living pretty high on the hog out there. I think it was day 2 or day 3. I think I had like 1 raspberry. And then I kept wanting to make rice, but there was no opportunity because the game kept moving. Can we have a little time? Can we have a little time? No, Eric, we've got to keep moving. We're going to the next challenge. We're going to the next immunity. Oh, yeah.
Rice is really a morning or evening activity. There's no time for a midday unless you're.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, you can't squeeze it in midday.
Yeah, especially your day 3 is lose, and we'll get to that because there's a lot of strategy travel counts that happens for you that day.
Yeah.
So, talk to me. How did you end up? Tell me about your road to Reelfoot. How did you get onto the cast? Or what led you to play?
So I found out about starting back with Outlast from a coworker who's the mother of Eric Eldridge. So, and actually I had him over a couple of weeks ago, which was fantastic. He's got family in Mashpee, which is close by. So that's what triggered me to play. So I did Outlast, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got to do another. And I came back the following year and did production for Outlast, which I love doing, being on the other side. And then I got into a couple smaller games, including Columbus Survivor, Battle of the Ages, where I met Pete. And then I did one up in Maine, Phantom of the Opera Survivor. Quite different, but
Whoa,
A lot of
cool.
fun, a lot of twists. That one was a little dicey with the way the play went, kind of like the Eclipse sort of feel, but well, a lot of fun. But anyways, I heard about Reelfoot. I saw Allison, a number of Outlast people play it. Trav, Jess. I love Jess. Jess being a handler was like, I was so happy with Jess on production for Reelfoot. But that's how I heard about it, and I applied, and here I am.
So, did you do anything Did you do anything to prepare for the season?
I did. I started running. I was going to the track. I was doing 3 miles, on a Wednesday night, and then I'd go with a track group. So I was getting used to doing just some fast pieces, 400s, 800s, miles. So just wanted to get up my endurance. And so I was feeling pretty good there. Started doing some sandbag tosses. And, I tried the one that we ended up doing, the leapfrogs. Yeah. My family thinking I'm crazy. I'm coming home, I'm changing into shorts, and I'm throwing bean bags around the front yard. But I don't know. And it didn't pay off for me, but it was fun to practice like that. And the only other real puzzles, I did a few puzzles. I actually did the insanity puzzle. I was ready for the insanity puzzle. They didn't have
They like that one. They bring it out.
Oh, I was ready. I was ready for that one. And I'm really good with the slide puzzle. I mean, I got that down. Of course, what you'll hear about, I went against Julian, who is the other professional slide puzzle player. So that was fun to battle him out, because that was like a retest from Outlast where I beat him in a slide puzzle.
So you arrive at the game and you find yourself on the Doer tribe, the Intaku tribe. Now, Dreamers versus Doers, do you agree with that assessment? Are you a doer?
Oh, I'm a doer. In fact, what's funny is I heard one of my pitch to get on, I basically say I'm a doer. I didn't catch that too. I was showing somebody after the game my application video, and I was like, oh my God, I said I'm a doer on it. I was like, it must have went bingo. Get them on.
So you're a doer. You see the cast as a whole. Anyone you recognize or know, or when you look at the cast for the first time?
Oh yeah. I mean, we need to take one step back, because this is funny. So I'm in Boston, getting ready for the plane, sitting down. I get there early because I want to be early. And Julian comes around the corner. I could not believe it. I was like, Julian. And we knew instantly we were both going to Reelfoot. It was just like, there was no other reason we were going on a plane to Tennessee. So that was a shocker. And I knew if he was playing and I'm playing, and they knew our connection, that there's no way we were going to be on the same tribe. So that is, you'll hear about that more as we talk, but it created some interesting dynamics that were very hush-hush.
I've kind of had that experience once before, actually. I was flying from Austin to Indianapolis for Surviving Bloomington. I'm sitting there, and I look across me, because Surviving Bloomington open cast list. I'm like, that looks like Matt. I realize I'm sitting right across from the players, and it's just weird. So I'm like, I guess we talked, but I don't want to pregame. It's like, what's allowed, what's not? I don't know. But it was interesting. It's like, oh, I don't know what to do in this moment. But you and Julian know each other, and you're like, all right, we're just not in the same tribe.
Yeah. So we were good. We didn't do any pre-tribing. We basically said, okay, we're here. It's going to be interesting, and you'll hear some detail on that soon enough.
Any first thoughts about your tribe when you see everyone together?
So I recognized Aaron. He was the only one I really was aware of from playing other games, because we had the Columbus Survivor sort of group connection. And I saw him play the mole. I think were you in that too? Maybe so I love that. I started getting hooked on watching the John Wells and Kyle Gates different games they put together, which are amazing. They're so good. If you all have to go watch some of these games out there, they're beautiful. But yeah, so I recognized Aaron, and it took a few minutes for us. I don't know if he recognized me, but we got together pretty quickly, and I said, I got to ride with this guy. And that's built up some interesting twists throughout, because I kept thinking we were riding together, but I'm not sure we were in the same car half the time.
I agree with that assessment. It definitely came my takeaway from talking with him was you were more invested than he was invested, perhaps.
I think that's the case. I mean, I knew everything that he had, and he knew what I had. It was like, I was like going on a date with him, but he just wouldn't say he wanted to go on another date. It was, I was like, Aaron, come on. I mean, at some point during the game, I think I said it during a tribal council. I said, Aaron, probably 8 times I've been knocking at your door saying, let's ride this. And it was kind of like yes, well, yeah. Very non-committal. And be honest, I felt like he was doing that with a lot of people. That's kind of my feel at the end, was he was riding just the waves and just coasting many times. And it played perfectly. I mean, he did a great job with it.
Anyone else you see that you recognize?
No. I mean, the only other connections I had was on the car ride. So Pete picked me up at the airport. I was in with Shannon, Jana, and Danny. So, I mean, 3 hours driving a car with made up names, with not knowing where anybody's from. But it draws a connection. You got to start somewhere. And so I thought I had something to build from with each one of them. And none of them panned out the way I thought, but it created some interesting dynamics when we had discussions at different times.
So you win the opening reward challenge. You go back to your tribe site. What are those opening hours like? What are you up to? Who are you talking
to? So my first real talk probably was with Larissa. There's a funny TikTok with her talking about her being a mechanical engineer and I'm a chemical engineer, and we get around, and so I thought we had a connection right there. And
this is important.
We did.
Were you lying about your job?
No, so that's what's funny. So they started in a circle to say what everybody did, and she said, "Oh, I do design or something." And they said, "Oh, what's your major?" And they started asking majors. She said, "Oh, design, industrial design or something." And they came to me, and she's waiting for me to lie. And I say, "Oh, I'm a safety director, and I have a chemical engineering degree." So she was like, "Why are you telling the truth?" So I figured it wasn't going to hurt me. I don't know.
Survivor, all those engineers always win. We have to target them.
But that was fun. Yeah, so we built up a bond quickly there, and I thought we'd build on that. Yeah, she was a great player, very talkative, very likable. I mean, I think, many people were probably eyeing Larissa's my number one. Larissa's my number one. And I think at one point she probably had about 4 or 5 number ones until we all realized it. But yeah, she was great. And then naturally I was connecting with Aaron. I started connecting with Leah and Rafa and the rest of the group. So we had a great time getting going. And when we get to camp, we're looking for spots. And we were in a very strange hollow, and you heard about how we eventually got evacuated. But I was looking to go further in to find a spot a little bit higher ground. And thankfully we didn't go there, because that's where the tree fell on that stormy day. And would have been, and we would have been making news down in Tennessee, because that was frightening. That was frightening when that tree came down. But that's the second day.
Talk to me about Sam, because I feel like your relationship with her is something that's going to carry through most of the game and be really important. I'm curious, like, at what point do you two start working together or clicking together? Is that immediately? Does that kind of grow as the game continues?
So we started building on something. I didn't click with Sam immediately. When we got there, there was the lockbox, and Aaron found the key. I shielded him, so he got the key. So there's a great connection, Aaron and me, right? And then they had the split where half the tribe went to do a challenge and the other half stayed.
Yeah.
And I wanted to stay. I basically said, I can't remember anything. And I was kind of playing to that being not a good challenge to me to go to.
Yep.
And that's where Sam stayed, Will stayed,
Aaron, you,
Aaron.
and
Yeah, so that's where we started to
and Leah.
bond. We were very upfront. Aaron shared that he had the box, opened the box. He didn't tell about the cryptics immediately, which was okay. We each split some crackers that we wouldn't tell the rest of the group about, which they realized we had crackers eventually. Yeah, and eventually Aaron came out and started telling us about the cryptics, and I'm not sure why he was keeping that quiet immediately, but it created me to wonder about how tight I was with Aaron, and it made it really fun though, because there were the letters around camp, right? People did not know there was a cryptics. So people were searching for something that the letters had something to do with. So I'm walking around pretending to find this hidden cryptics, maybe somewhere else. And Aaron had it the whole time. So it was pretty silly. There were two of us. Leah, I think, was doing the same thing. We were walking around, just, oh, it must be over here. And I was happy. I ended up figuring out the word for nebula. But Aaron was not too discreet about working in his bag with the cryptics, and that created some dynamics where people are watching. And Jude's amazing. I love Jude, but she was getting observant, and I kept noticing she was staring at Aaron, reaching into his bag. So I was like, Aaron. So that kind of actually put her in hot water in my book early on with one of our first votes, because she was just very attentive. And I felt like we were going to get ourselves in trouble if we couldn't get a tight bond with her. And I ended up getting very close with her, but it wasn't where the rest of the group was going.
There's another universe where you get that key and Aaron shields you. What would you have done? Would you have done the same or anything differently than Aaron?
I think I would have shared it with the entire group. I may have kept control of the cryptics to some degree, because the other group had the same thing going on, and the word got out, and I think it could have put somebody into a really tough spot, keeping it a secret when half the tribe doesn't know. Now they know that you're hiding it. Yeah, with that dynamic, I think I would have showed it to people. Yeah, that early in the game, you don't want to create some friction that's not necessary. That was my view. Maybe I would have hid some crackers though if I opened the box. Maybe they would have been buried under a rock somewhere for me, my special stash for later in the game.
How was that first night in the woods?
The first night was okay. It took us a little bit to get a fire. Everything was kind of a little damp. I jumped right into being the woodsman. I don't know. I feel like I'm a doer. Okay, I said a doer. But I was out there taking trees, bringing them over, cracking them, getting stuff ready for the fire, and just trying to make sure we were staying warm at night, because it did get cold. We did have a tarp over us and a tarp under us, so we did okay. We were pretty tight together, so the extra body heat of laying next to somebody made a difference that first night, but it wasn't that comfortable. We didn't get a whole lot of sleep.
During the second day, you lose sumo at sea, but you win the following reward challenges. How are you feeling about your tribe and the people in it as this day progresses?
I'm loving our group. I mean, I'm building up. My first go-to, I mean, after I talked about Larissa, was with Rafa. I looked at Rafa, and he and I are the same cloth. I mean, we both are tall guys, both strong. We carried that snake around almost by ourselves in that first challenge. We weren't stopping, and people were walking, not carrying the stake. It's like I need you and you need me. So we built a pretty close rapport, and I knew I couldn't trust him. When he said his profession as a high school coach, I've heard that one before. I think it was the next morning. I went over to Rafa. I said, "What do you really do?" And he just told me. He said, "I'm a sports reporter." I said, "Okay, that makes more sense." So I caught him in a couple lies, but at the same time, he was right straight up with me. And I was like, you know what? This guy can be straight up, and it's part of the game. And I gotta keep him tight. And we kept each other tight till we couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah. A couple people talk to me about Jana. Let's talk about Jana first. I don't think you mentioned her yet.
Oh, Jana was great. So Jana went. So she was in the car with me from
Mhm.
driving, and I knew there was going to be two teams. And I kind of had a suspicion that she was going to be on my team.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. She was very quiet, but a mastermind. I could tell the wheels were spinning with her, and we basically had a sort of a silent understanding that we were good with each other.
Mhm.
Um, in fact, when after the evacuation and we went to um, build our tent, they gave us an 8-person tent, or maybe it was a 10-person tent. Well, I don't know if you put together a tent before, but the poles are all strung together by an elastic inside.
Mhm.
Well, 2 of the poles were strung by elastic, 4 of them weren't. So we were basically playing our own challenge for the next 45 minutes, the 2 of us building a tent.
Mhm.
And it came together with 1 extra pole at the end. It
But
was
it worked.
had a slight tilt down one side of the tent, but it was pretty impressive that we figured it out, because it was a little bit harder than an insanity puzzle. That's for sure. But yeah, so we built a rapport, and we kind of were trying to figure out how to make our connections work together. And at one point, when Shannon came over as Eclipse, we had some interesting discussions with her, that trying to see what was going on, and was she being honest with us with what was happening on the other tribe, that we could maybe trust her coming together with a merge. And as it panned out, Jana went early and Shannon went early, so we never really got to build on that. But
Talk,
yeah,
talk, talk,
Jana was great. She's gonna kill one of these games.
talk to me about Will.
Oh my gosh, Will. I felt like I was mentoring Will for a
Mhm.
part of the game. I has he played before? Because that's what kind of was throwing me. At one point, somebody said, "Oh, he's played lots of games." Like, I don't know if he has played games before. But we had some great talking. We actually had when we were building the SOS challenge,
Mhm.
there was a point where Jude, Will, and I were together, just the 3 of us. And Will was basically saying he was having trouble connecting, and Jude was like trying to figure out how she fit in with the group.
Mhm.
And I was straight up with them. I said, maybe we can do something here. Maybe we can make something work. Just
Mhm.
the silent 3. We maybe we can turn something when the opportunity comes. But what was hard was Will was I think he was nervous. I mean, when it
Yeah.
came to voting,
And can you
when
blame
his
him?
name came out, he heard his name came out, and he started asking everybody that, is it me? Is it me? Is it me? And the first vote, I knew he wasn't going up. I wasn't going to be eliminated, and I think it was for Jude. And I decided that I'm voting for Will anyway.
Mhm.
So I went up to write down. I wrote down Will's name and I held it up. I don't know if this is out there yet, but I held it up and
Mhm.
said, "Will, wake up. Please wake up. You're not going home, but you will soon if you don't wake up." Obviously, he couldn't hear that, but I was trying to send a message through the airwaves to him. But he was fun. He was a great player. He did a great job. I think he just got nervous and got a little that creates friction. When you start getting nervous, people know you're nervous,
Mhm.
and I think that rolls into you being a vote.
Talk to me a bit about Anthony, because I feel like from listening to Anthony's confessionals, he was pitching that he's in alliance with you and Rafa, the 2 of you as the shields out in front of him. So I'm curious, like, was there a strict alliance with them? When did that develop? How were things with him early on in the tribe?
So Anthony. I do like Anthony. Um, he was playing a couple games and one with all of us. I felt we did have a good connection. I felt like he wanted the yellow strong, and that made total sense with me. I did find that his connections were closer with Rafa and with Larissa, which had me concerned. I mean, I was trying to be close with Anthony, but I felt like there were some barriers there with getting close with him that I didn't have with Rafa. And I think we kind of worked. We worked together till we had to draw the line at some point, and I'm not sure what was the determining factor there. I'd love to hear that from him. I think he thought I threw out his name at the vote eventually, and I did not throw out his name, but that's where it was going. And as you saw, that everybody voted for Anthony, and that was almost a tragic event for me and for somebody else. I mean, anybody could have thrown a stray vote in for that one, and that would have been really interesting. So I'm thinking back on that vote. But yeah, Anthony was great. He was just a villain. He was playing the villain. He wanted to be the villain, and
your favorite role.
And, he did a great job with it. Hats off to him.
Over the course of the second day, are you starting to hear any names floated around?
Names for
who to vote out first?
Okay, so I didn't connect. Sam, I didn't connect with initially. In fact, you're gonna love this. Signing into Reelfoot, they would give us updates every few weeks. This is coming down, and they released a cigarette policy. And as you know, Sam smokes. And I saw it and I was like, there is not going to be any smoke around me. They're going to go off on their own by themselves and smoke their cigarette. And that didn't happen. The cigarette smoke didn't bother me. And Sam, in the end, turned out to be my tightest ally and best friend of anyone at Reelfoot. So what a funny story that her and I would end up being good buddies towards the end. And so the interesting part, so here it is, the eclipse. The eclipse was difficult because you always had to have two names, right? So somebody was coming over, they were giving immunity to one player. We didn't know for sure who they were giving it to. So you always had to have two names. And so it initially started with Sam being one of the names. And that's brutal to be, keep playing, and you're like, you call my name out again. You call my name out again. So with Sam, that was a tough point of play with her. And not to get too far ahead, but I will, is when Danny came over as the Eclipse, and I didn't know they actually knew each other, but she was really upset. And there's some good video of her talking about how she's done. Nobody likes her except for Eric. And then what did Eric want to do? Eric basically told Danny, don't save Sam. Let's get her out of the game because we can't put her through this anymore. We can't put her through this despair of constantly being on the bottom. And I almost thought she wanted that. I almost thought, at some point she thought I was voting her out, but I wasn't really.
You did cast 2 votes for her in that trouble.
I was trying to save her, yeah.
Well, so in the second day, you don't know about the eclipse twist yet, right? And so is Sam the only name you're hearing kind of floated around at this point?
No. So wait, so nobody's voted out, right? At this point,
day 2.
No. So the names that are coming out are Jude and Sam. Sam's name was coming out. Yeah, those were the 2 primarily names that were going back and forth before the eclipse. Yeah.
So night 2, you have a storm. You sleep in a tent. You kind of evacuate from your camp. Day 3, you win the first immunity challenge. You lose the second challenge. Now, before we get into the scramble, I want to talk a little bit more of the eclipse. So in the twist, a player from the winning tribe comes over, strategizes with you all, and grants immunity and leaves before the votes are read. What are your thoughts on this twist?
It sounded great until we started playing it because what it ended up doing to Sam. I mean, it always makes two people. So there's one person always knowing they are also on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And then when that person just keeps carrying on, it's a little tougher. That's what we saw in our tribe. Maybe it was different on the other tribe, but it was a difficult play because right, you had to have two names, and then you didn't know if they had something to play. Because right, if there was two immunities, two people are saved. Now, is there a third name?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think we had a third name many times. So that created some challenges. I think what was fun with Jude. So the night of the evacuation, I got great respect for Jude because we were it was pouring rain. We have a tarp above us, a tarp underneath us. The owners of the property came by, and I think the wife and a small 5-year-old kid. And it's starting to rain, so they come underneath, and there's not a lot of room. And Jude stands up, goes out in the rain, and lets them have her spot. I was like, wow. I was like, this girl's awesome. So my whole brain switched on Jude. And that next morning, we had a little special connection where she had all her clothes wet. I get up early. I started the fire. We're drying her clothes on sticks, on so, well, the many socks were burned that day, but I looked over at her. Everything she had was wet. I had this big sweatshirt on that I took because I basically that was my sleeping bag. It was the biggest sweatshirt I had. I gave it to her, and she was in heaven. She was warm. She was comfortable. And as you saw, that paid off because the mutiny, right? She was going to be going out. She was that next vote. And she said to me, Eric, I think I'm going out. And I pretty much said to her, I said, Jude, I think you're going out. There's not much I can do. And she's like, I want to give you the mutiny. I'm like, what? The mutiny. They're like, okay, well, you want to give it to me? And she didn't actually officially hand it to me. So she didn't give it to production, say, I'm giving this to Eric. And while I was there, so she told production, and this was very strange because when we came back, there was the immunity piece of parchment on the ground next to our flag. And I was like, what's it doing there? And then production, I think Storm came over and said, Eric, that's yours. I go, is it? So she willed it over to me, told production, just left it because the way it's willed over to somebody, it's only that person that can have it. So somebody can't pick it up and it be theirs. And that's the same thing that happened with the idols. Yeah. I saw Julian get in trouble with that in his vote. But that was special. So that was pretty cool to get that from Jude.
Yeah, I mean, was Jude your ideal first boot from this tribe?
No, I don't think so. But the challenge is the numbers, and you want to sort of. My feeling is you got to go with the numbers. You've got to be on the right side of the alliance. Yes. If you start throwing the wrong way, and right, I threw a vote to Rafa. I wouldn't throw a vote to Rafa, but who threw a vote to Rafa? It was Eric. Guess who's going next? Probably.
Your way. Let's assume you can get your way, and there's no repercussions. Okay. Who would you have wanted to target to be the first one on this tribe?
Well, this was still early on, figuring out where we're at. It might have been Will, just because he was a wild card, and there's information that needs to be kept secret, and I think he had loose lips, and I think he would have been opening up to a lot of people information. Yeah, I think he might have been first for me.
This is a 5-2-1-1-1, and you are part of those ones that vote for Will. Did you know it was going to be that widespread of a vote? Was it just a lot of chaos because of it's the first time we're seeing the eclipse in play on your tribe?
The eclipse, what? It saved Sam, right?
Yeah. So Mary Ellen comes over. She saves Sam. Okay. 2 votes for Sam negated.
Okay. Yeah, we were pretty sure it was going to be Jude. So I did have one other connection, and that was with Mel, or Melon. I was calling her Mel for the game. Is we happened to be staying at the same Quality Inn. So when she came
Nice.
over, we started talking, and I was like, we got the Quality Inn team right here, and she became probably my most trusted person in the entire game. And she would tell it to me like it was, and I would tell it to her like it was. So it was great. So she was my most trusted person, but we couldn't really play
Yeah.
because she was on the other tribe. And then when we got together, we had our different groupings, but I was always aware of what she was doing, and she was aware of what I was doing. So it really helped me to feel safe in understanding where the votes were going throughout the game.
You lose the next mini challenge of the day. This is the puzzle in the water. And this is
Yep.
when Shannon's going to be eclipsed over. What was the strategy like leading up to Will being voted out?
So that one, be honest, that one was pretty straightforward too. Will was doing a lot of scrambling, and as I said to you before, that nervousness was just getting him in trouble. And we pretty much, again, so Shannon, it was funny because there was a gameplay where they were trying to convince Shannon that Leah was the one at the bottom.
Yep.
And that Shannon should save Leah, which might have meant Sam might have gone home, possibly. So that was really interesting how that played out, but I think I might have spoiled that at a certain point because I already had my connection with Shannon, and Leah was pitching it so hard. She was throwing those fake tears in, and she was throwing in so much actors. She was going for an Oscar on that. And I think I basically went to Shannon when all said was done. I said, Shannon, Leah's not going. She's not so I kind of spilled the beans a little bit with Shannon on that. And what did she do? She saved Sam, and then Will went home. Is that right?
Yep. Will goes home in a 5-3-1, 3 votes for Sam negated.
Yeah. I'm kind of my thought too, and I'm curious, I don't know if I know this for sure, was that they were basically planning to keep saving Sam when they were coming over. I think that's the kind of sort of the gist. We were sort of thinking that they're just going to keep saving Sam.
Finally, you round the evening with a gross food challenge for individual immunity, and the winner will then also go be eclipsed to other tribes. You will not vote with your own tribe, but go over there, and you end up winning the gross food challenge for your tribe. How was that?
That was fun. So the truth is, it was determined I was going to win it. Aaron and Rafa decided, or we discussed it. And I said I wanted to go, and there are alternative motives for that. So I was very happy that was the case. I wasn't the fastest eating, but I kept eating, and I think I heard Aaron wondering why it was taking me so long to eat through the giblets and the liver, which were actually delicious. They needed a little bit of salt, and they would have been nice if they were warm, but it was actually pretty good, but really chewy. The real surpriser was eating the wasabi cockroach sauerkraut, because when you put that into your mouth, I think Nate said something, but it was a total explosion. Tears are coming down from that wasabi. Wow. It didn't taste awful, but the heat, it was all the heat. So I got that down, and I was very happy to go over. And for whatever reason, it worked out that whoever finished first went to tribal first.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why that was the case, because it gave me more time in the eclipse to talk with the other team. But I was all for that. I did leave some bad. Go ahead.
Oh, so you were saying you had some alternate motives why you wanted to be the one to be eclipsed here.
Yeah, so I knew Julian was on the bottom. We were getting wind of that, and so I wanted to make sure he was going to be safe. Because he might have been the next boot. I'm not positive, but that's what it sounded like. So I went over, and I think a lot of people got a bad impression of me, because I was kind of like lining people up. I'm going to talk to you one at a time, line up, and I've got some questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
And all went pretty smooth. I mean, Mel was great because I knew her before. Courtney was great. And then I came to Joe. And Joe did not want to answer my questions. And so I said to her, I am done with you. And I went to the next person, which I think was Logan. And I mean, they weren't telling me the truth half the time. You know, it was kind of had to piece through what was true and what was not. But it was clear that Julian was on the bottom, and I think Nay was on the bottom. But the funny part here is, I'm trying to figure out where the vote is going. And it seemed like there was some indecision. And Courtney said to me, I said, who you want out of this game? And she said to me, Logan. And she didn't really mean Logan, but she told me Logan. So I pitched then Logan to Julian and Nay, who were at the bottom. I said, how about making a move on Logan? Because I knew he was a strong player, but I was feeding off of the pitch from Courtney to sort of make it that play. And obviously there were no votes for Logan on that.
Yeah.
But that's where it was interesting with that. But here's what happened. So I started talking to Julian, and he was nervous. I think rightfully so. He was probably going to go. I think, was it a split vote? I forget what the vote numbers were eventually. 4-4. And I said to him, I said, Julian, I'm going to save you. No, actually, I didn't tell him that. I said, I think I'm going to save you, because I wanted to get as much information. I didn't. I was always going to save him. And I said, what do you have? And he said, all I have is a mutiny. I said, you do? I said, how about you give me that mutiny and I save you? I just wanted power. It was Eric showing his power. I wanted to make sure I had control. And you'll as we talk more, you'll see, I think I did it I'm in favor of where we were going with it.
Yeah.
So he handed it to me and started walking to the tribal. And I'm like, Julian, you gotta tell production you're giving it to me. Come back here. So he came back and talked to production. I am giving this to Eric. So there I had 2 immunity idols. I don't know what you call them.
Mutiny advantages. But
mutiny advantage, yeah.
You're the first person I've known who's ever can be able to control 2 at once. I don't think I've ever seen that before, which
that's
is
a real first.
Yeah, so like there's a lot of good first season. I do think we've seen many advantages,
and neither of them were mine, so both were willed to me or given to me. So
I mean, I was gonna say, like, of the 4, you got 4 advantages and only played 1 for yourself this season.
I know. How do you like that?
Very selfless. Well,
and to the most part, I think it worked out with me, as we'll hear going down. Yeah, so that was so. Oh.
Hi.
All right, so there's.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. I was hearing an echo.
Mm-mm.
No. Okay. So that was interesting, and what a shock it was to hear that Shannon went from their tribe, but that's okay.
So that night, Rafa from your tribe and Logan from the blue tribe are going to have a meeting and figure out how to divide the tribes in a tribe swap. And they're going to essentially decide to not do a tribe swap, with only Julian end up moving from the Lunakai tribe to your Intaku tribe. What were your thoughts on this quasi-tribe swap?
I did not understand that. I am holding 2 mutiny advantages, which were perfect for him to just, flop me over to the other side. I would have been fine with that, and then get me back over. I mean, just so we have the numbers. So I was shocked. I was, in fact, it was almost to the point where it didn't make sense. Are you sure? I kind of was in some ways not trusting Rafa, just because it seemed so odd. Why would you agree to the same teams? Why wouldn't it force you to make different teams? But it's okay. because when Julia walked through the tent, that was a big smile on my face. I was like, thank God you're here. Let's get working. So that was in my mind when I saw him coming into the tent. We had a big smile and a big secret smile on each of our faces as we were looking at each other.
I'm curious. Let's say you went to that meeting at the Divide the Tribes. What other 6 players would you want your tribe with you?
Oh, I think I would have. I'm not sure. So I would have tried to stack it with people I'm close with, and then stack it with people who I wanted out, and then give the mutiny on the next one to 2 people who was maybe also strong with, like Leah or Rafa or Anthony, and get them back over. And now we have, numbers up on the others, and whether we win or lose, we're knocking people out. So it would have been a win-win.
So, but if you had to give me 6 names, I'm going to force you right now. What 6 people would you want at least put in your pre-mutiny tribe?
So I would have. In fact, this is how it played out eventually. I think I would have had. Wait, no, we don't have the merge. No, we do, right? So this is Joe still in, and Vito
15
and Danny.
people left. 15 people left right now.
Yeah, so I would have probably had that grouping in there as people probably on the lineup to move out, just because I didn't have tight connections with them. I would have saved Mel. I would have kept Mel safe. Is Logan and Garrett still? No, Logan's out, right?
No, so they're all here. So the only people voted out are
that's
Garrett,
right, Logan,
Jude,
Garrett,
Will, Jen, and Shannon. Right.
So maybe I would have pulled Logan or Garrett in, one of them, not both.
Okay.
Probably the one I felt strong. So I might have pulled Logan in. No, he couldn't, because Logan was the other captain. So I would have pulled Garrett.
Garrett's gone. So Garrett's one of the 5 people voted out at this point.
Yeah. So maybe Logan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I would have been looking for people I wanted out. So I probably would have been looking for strong players or people in the middle. And then we could either throw challenges.
Which you're a fan of?
I think you heard. Yeah, I did throw one challenged. I didn't tell anybody, I think, except for confession, and then I told people after the game.
Yeah, that's the best time to tell people that.
Yeah.
So Julian's on your tribe. You played Outlast with him. Are you upfront with people that you played Outlast with them? Or are you waiting for people to come up and say, hey, I know you both played Outlast together?
I could not believe nobody knew we played Outlast together. In fact, it was a big joke because Jess was our handler who played that same season with us. I'm like, Jess, nobody knows. How can nobody know? How did nobody watch Outlast and see what happened in the final episodes there? Yeah, so nobody knew, and we weren't giving any hints.
A quick shout out from Angela.
Yeah, we weren't giving any hints that we knew each other. In fact, I kept, and maybe he was doing the same, I kept at different times saying, oh, we got to watch Julian. He's really smart. He's really smart. So I kept buying in that we got to be careful with him. And he was he was in trouble, obviously, with the other team. So he was like adopted. Leah, I don't know what Leah's connection with Julian was. It was like Julian was her little baby, and she was protecting him. It was beautiful. I couldn't understand it, and we had a great talk about it afterwards at the after party. And it's just a beautiful friendship. Some people just click together, and the 2 of them clicked.
At this point, Aaron has his idol, and everyone knows Aaron has his idol. I'm curious, I guess we kind of talked a little bit about, like, you really wanted to work with Aaron. So I guess, did you have any plans or ideas for what you'd like to see the idol used for? Just like, hey, just keep and hold it till merge, and we're gonna need it then.
I was fine with him holding it. I think as I keep saying before, I would have liked to have more information or more thoughts how he wanted to play
Mhm.
it. And I think he needed that move. I mean, he kept saying he was going to play it on Sam. He was going to play it on somebody else. And he only played his idols on himself.
Mhm.
And that, I think that was to his detriment. I think he needed to find a way to make that more of a team idol, or ways to better represent that he was actually going to do it, and maybe follow through with it. I think if he followed through with that, it would have gained a little more. I don't know, not the word's not respect, but a
Which
little
is
more.
which is wild because he wanted to play it this round on Sam, just a
But he
hiccup in the
didn't.
process.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that
but
was interesting.
so you're in this old tribe plus Julian. You lose the idle hands challenge. Danny is eclipsed over. On one hand, there's this very easy boot. It's Julian. But it's not going to go that way. So talk me through the strategy of this round that leads to this crazy 3-round vote deadlock with Sam and Larissa.
All right. So this is the vote where Sam is at wit's end.
Mm-hmm.
She's not happy. There's a beautiful video of her basically saying she doesn't trust anybody except for Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Sam's awesome. And I'm like, I felt so bad for her. And this is where I voted for Sam. I
Mm-hmm.
did not want to vote for Sam, but it's like this is awful. She's not having any fun. She's being beat up by these people. She's always feels like she's on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And I voted for Sam. And that's what's crazy. But as you see what happened, I mean, it was a split, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
Danny saves Julian, which worked out nice. I forget if I helped with that. I think I was talking about that, but maybe there was a connection with Julian. So that was beautiful. But yeah, when the votes were coming out and it was a split Sam and Larissa, I was like, wow. Wow,
So
wow, wow.
you were blindsided by the split.
I was not expecting that.
Mm-hmm.
But as it played out, I wasn't I was fine by it. We all broke off and it was a long tribal. We're all talking to each other. Aaron said he'd go to Rocks. I was not going to Rocks. Larissa was not selling herself. I think the way she was, I'm trying to think how to word it. She was aggressively pushing that she should not be the vote. And sometimes when you're doing that,
Yeah.
you become the vote.
Mm-hmm.
And then I basically decided that Larissa had too many, this is my opinion, that she had too many connections with too many people and they all were very open and visual. And I think at different times I kept saying to her, I said, Larissa, this was early on. I said, Larissa, you're my number one. And this is true. That she was the only one I was really trying to focus on early in the game. And I think towards there, I went to her and said, Larissa, I'm your number one, right? And she said, well, you don't do that. So there was that pause. I'm like, you know what? I think she needs to go. And as it turned out, who was the first one to have to say a name when we had the split? It was me. So I really wonder what would have happened if I said Sam. Would have everybody else followed with Sam? I didn't, I was happy. I was very happy with the way it happened. And then, Eclipse wasn't too much longer in the play, and we got to build up that relationship back and move forward.
Yeah, so after a double tie and a deadlock, Larissa is unanimously voted out, and this tribe is going to win the next two challenges, right? Where Logan then Courtney go out. And I'm curious, had this group of people voted together one more time, what would have happened? So it's Aaron,
Boy.
Anthony, you, Julian, Leah, Rafa, and Sam. What happens if you all go to one more tribal council together?
I think there might have been a push for Julian again or for Leah. I think it would have been off of Sam. I think it would have been. I think it would have gone towards Leah. I think. I don't know.
I'm curious. So, of the players on this tribe, so Aaron, Anthony, Julian, Larissa, Leah, and Julian, Leah, Rafa, Sam. Can you rank them from most to least important to your game?
So for Shield, I would rank. Oh, is Julian in there too?
Yeah. So Julian's here.
Julian was probably my number one, but I was still trying to figure out how that was going to work with the group.
Yeah.
And then it was probably Rafa because I wanted a shield.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, I was building up a stronger rapport with Sam. And I was like, I want to keep Sam. And Anthony was funny. I was still trying to figure out Anthony and Aaron, both of them. It was like I couldn't get a good read on Anthony. It would have been probably been Aaron. Aaron and Sam were right there together. Yeah, and then I guess Anthony would have been at the end.
So starting at the top, it was Julian,
Rafa, Sam,
Aaron.
Yep.
And then it was Leah, Anthony.
Probably. Let's go Leah, Anthony.
Okay. Well, you're gonna spend the rest of the fourth day winning. You're gonna win those two challenges, and then you actually get a real tribe swap. And this is fun because you're gonna get there, you're gonna have a tribe swap, and you're the man with all the power. You have the double mutiny advantages. Talk me through what goes on here.
I wasn't expecting that to happen. So part of it's being a little tired, right? I was a little delayed with figuring out what to do here. So I looked at the numbers and I saw it was Rafa, Anthony, and myself. And then it was Joe, Vito, and Danny.
Yep.
So there were 6 of us. So that's 3 and 3. And I'm like, I need to get another one over here because those are the 3 I'd like to get out. I wasn't worried about Nay. And Mel, Mel was golden. I didn't want anything to happen to Mel. So I wanted to get one more over. And I gave it to Leah. And then I'm thinking, there's more ways to play this. And I wanted to give them some flexibility. I wanted to show them that I wasn't trying to screw them over. And so I gave it to Aaron initially because I thought he would think about how that would be used. And he knew I was trying to build a bond with him. I think I did this later in the game too. And he was like, no. I was like, okay.
It's
and then
really
Anthony
awkward.
came over and had a
awkward
little talk
moment.
What's that? It was awkward. It was very awkward.
It's like
I can't even give away a mutiny. And then I gave it to Sam, which worked out perfect.
There is a step here you're missing.
What's that?
Anthony comes up to you during this whole process and is whispering fiercely in your ear.
So he was looking at the numbers too. And I think he was agreeing to give them also a mutiny, but I don't think he wasn't like jumping up and down saying, give it to Sam or give it to Aaron. I think we need to read the lips of what he's telling me. What do you think the play was there?
I think it was all right. I mean, I think
it was just awkward.
Essentially, when you kind of look at the teams, right? You have Aaron and Leah from original Yellow still on the blue tribe, but Julian probably is likely going to vote with them, right? He's probably not very happy about with the original blue. So it's kind of like you have 3 people there still, even with Sam jumping over. So you've kind of submitted majorities on both sides, theoretically, as a result.
Yeah. I felt like we had Julian. I mean, I knew I had Julian. So, and I kind of knew that I'd be probably throwing the next.
I mean, there's a world where like you give it to Leah mutinies over, and you're just like, well, if Aaron's out, he's an idol, so it's probably fine. It's like if anyone's gonna be able to survive this, it'll be him. Well, you're gonna
Then
lose
they
to
both
Thomas.
attempt. Then they both attempted to come over, and
Leah kind of doesn't though. I don't remember seeing. I have to go back and watch to see how
I
much.
think they both step up at the same time and say, "I want to go over," and then Sam says, "I want to go over,"
Mhm.
and
And
then they
Sam
say, "Oh,
does, and
we're
Leah.
not doing." I think that was the initial step up, and then they say, "Oh, we're not doing a challenge, so we're not. That's not happening now.
Come back later.
Come back later. Come back later." Yeah.
So these next two votes, I guess let's do the first vote, right? This is you lose the challenge. Leah is eclipsed, so you're like, all right, we don't need to worry about anyone that we like. Leah's gonna give you the immunity actually.
Yeah.
And you had kind of your choice. Do you want to vote out Joe? Do you want to vote out Vito, or do you want to vote out Danny? Talk to me about that decision.
Oh, and now with what I know, it would have been a different order. But you can't go that way, can you?
So tell me about your
I
thoughts
had
then.
okay, so I felt comfortable with Danny.
Why?
When we were in the van, leaving early in the game, because we didn't have a lot of time to talk, I said, I hope we get to play together. He looked at me right straight in the eyes and said, I hope we do. And so we kind of had the wink wink going on. And so the vote went towards Joe, because I think we felt the least comfortable with her. She was aggressive, or I felt she was aggressive. I mean, I know Joe differently now. You know, when we were playing the games, her and I were combating about the challenges being fair. It was kind of funny. She would say, "No, they're a step in front of us." No, and then it'd be like, "No, we're a step behind you." And then when I did go over with my eclipse, and she wouldn't answer my questions, I was like, you know what? I can't trust you. And so she was the first in line. And it could have gone a different way. It could have been Vito, and it could have been Danny. But I think there were more connections with Danny people had that I learned out later. The one thing to go back on though is that before we went, we had the best bonding evening with that group. It was not game, it was fun. We had beer from the challenge win earlier with pizza that came back to our tribe. So we were drinking some great beer, eating some, I don't forget what we had for food. I think we made up some rice and we had some coconut, and we just bonded. It was beautiful. And people ask me why I play these games, and I do want to win, but it's meeting people in a way that's so special and so bonding. I got friends for life. It takes years to develop this with somebody, you're meeting at work or something. But when you're sweating, crying, starving with people, what a bond you build, and what a beautiful cast. I love every single one of the players here. And I know that if ever I reached out to one, they would reach back out and say, how are you doing? And hope we can get together another game. And, I see this with when I respond on little chats, people who voted me off saying, Eric, great game. I love seeing you. I love watching you. Happy birthday. So it's a whole family. And I think everybody would agree with me on this. It's the bonds that you build that make the game, and you want to stay playing to build those bonds as long as possible. And that's why I love it. I know one of the questions you sometimes have is, do you agree with redemption? And I absolutely agree with having redemption. People should be playing these games as long as possible, get the experience, especially with a long game like this. And Reelfoot just does a phenomenal job with it. It's beautiful. See, there's me going. I'm starting to talk too long.
I want to talk a little bit more about Danny, because this is, again, you met him early in the game. You're on a tribe with him now. What's your relationship with him like at this point in the game?
Danny's beautiful. I love you, Danny, and I hope you're watching. I feel, and I questioned him on this, I think we had a great relationship.
Mhm.
He is definitely more of a game player than I am.
Mhm.
And he definitely wears the hat of being a villain much better than I do. And my hat's off to him on being a villain. And I think he likes that title. It's a different gameplay than how
Mhm.
I have decided to play. Um, but yeah, what a good gamer. And I realize and respect his game the more I hear and learn about how he played. And a lot of it is in the background. A lot of it is
Mhm.
about the relationships, the one-on-one relationships you build that you don't know about because you're not in that relationship.
Mhm.
And so you can't see that level until you start putting the pieces together and some of it starts making sense. And in the end, I should have got him out
So he
because
should have been the vote here.
I should have. I mean, he had the connections with Sam that I didn't know about. He had the connections with Mel that everybody knew about. And I mean, that should have been the move. That should have been the move to break those two up when we had a chance. But I mean, I was close to Mel. I was close to Mel, so I was kind of riding it, and I thought I was very close with Danny. I don't know.
So Joe goes out. At what point do you decide I'm throwing this challenge in the next community?
So this is with the ball, right? It's kind of dark,
Yeah. This is
and
the challenge title is build it up, break it down. Um,
what is that? What it was?
I
They were
mean,
bouncing a ball, and then
yes.
Danny was jump. Poor Danny. Well, Danny's a dancer, so he was like loving this. I think so. He was jumping
Sorry.
up on the table,
I think this is the
right?
challenge where you lock a box, right? So you have a plastic container, you wrap it up as tight as you
No,
can, and then once then you go and try to unlock the other team's box. They get the puzzle pieces to have someone do a puzzle, and you have Julian go do the fire puzzle for your tribe, or the other
oh
Julian.
no,
Sorry,
that's not
Julian.
the one. No, the one I threw was the one before that, where Joe
Okay,
went out.
gotcha. So you
That
throw
was
the
the
first
one with
challenge.
the ball. It was
Okay.
dark. You're bouncing a ball. It looked like the
Yeah.
game we were going to play when they first swapped the tribes, and then they said go home, and then we came back,
Oh, okay, gotcha.
and they were bouncing the ball, and then it would come over to Danny.
Hmm.
He would jump up on a platform. I had this pedestal. Well, I had to lean it into a
Hmm.
bucket,
Yeah. And by the way,
and
Danny's saying
right.
he appreciates the respect and he is watching. You should both talk again soon sometime.
Yeah, absolutely, Danny. I love you. Total
Um,
respect for you, Danny.
okay, so you throw
Yeah,
that
so
first.
so yeah, so Danny was getting a hell of a workout jumping up and down, and I was bouncing on my head, and Mel was on the other side. I watched her get one, and I'm leaning. Um, I tried not to make it obvious, but I was not trying because I knew we had the people to get out, and um, I wasn't worried about it. I mean, if when you saw that vote, it was 2-2-2. Two were on
Yeah.
me, two were split, right?
Hmm.
And I wasn't worried. They voted for me. That's okay. And then we all went in and voted.
So
Um,
it definitely felt like when I was listening to people's confessionals throughout the game, your name constantly came up as someone saying, Eric is a threat and he's going to be dealt with at some point. And is that something were you aware people are kind of having those conversation thoughts about you, or like they're just like, I'm still here, it doesn't like clearly it's not working.
no, I knew it,
Mm.
and that's why I had to keep Rafa tight. And that's why, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead here, when Courtney came back in, I was building up a strong relationship with her that I really wanted to build. And she kept saying, I mean, I'm jumping ahead, Eric, I can't trust you. Eric, I can't trust you. And I was giving her a lot of detail, and her and Mel. So I was trying to build a stronger group to protect and move forward with, because
Mhm.
I saw that coming. I mean, the funny part is I wasn't winning challenges. I
You
mean,
want to, you want to,
I think it was my social game. I mean, I had
yeah.
connections with a lot of people, and I think people saw that as a problem.
Well, let's talk about redemption, because I guess there's two players re from the game. Who would you have liked to see re-enter the game at this point?
Who to come back?
Yeah.
Oh, I would have loved to seen Jenna come back.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So Jana and who else?
Um, who else is over there now? Sorry.
Will, Jude, Jana, Shannon, Garrett, Larissa, Logan, Courtney, Vito, and Joe.
Larissa.
Okay.
Yeah, I think those two coming back. I mean, I think Larissa would have still had a little beef with us.
Mhm.
We kind of witnessed that feeling when we would see her. Yeah, I wish Jana came back because that I wasn't there when she was voted out, and she would have been great to build. She was great at challenges. Yeah, her going out was not good for my game.
So coming in this merge, what is your strategy?
Well, first I forget. So we merged and we went to get food,
Mm-hmm.
and all I could think about was eating. The food was so good. I mean, people who know me know that I talk more about food than anything else.
What is the food you
Um,
wanted the most while out there?
Actually, I wanted Chinese food.
Good
There's a
call.
little joke there, but yeah, Chinese food would have been great. The boat food was great. Um, oh, actually, we missed something
What do we miss?
that not many people knew about. A few people in production did, and I had a little hidden game going on that
Oh,
nobody knew.
you had some funky things you're telling the camera in your
Yeah,
confessionals.
nobody knew this was happening. So I basically was pitching because I knew things were going live.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to pitch people to have Parker during the tribal council to say a specific word.
Mm-hmm.
And if he said that word, I was going to tell a story. And the first one was about pizza. And so I needed him to say chocolate. I think chocolate was the first one. And so he was getting the message, but the first time he said chocolate was when I was over in the Eclipse. So I came back and told the story about pizza. And then I think there was avocado. I never heard avocado, but then the next one I said, if you can get Parker to say sauerkraut, and I got him to say sauerkraut, I would tell this story about making pasta. So I told a great story about pasta because he said sauerkraut, and I forget what tribal council that was, but that was kind of fun. People were like, why is Eric constantly talking about food? And there was a little bit behind that only viewers maybe got a glimpse of.
Yeah, because I
I'm
remember
sorry,
seeing
where were we?
oh, so you're at the merge. What's your plan?
Okay, we're at the merge. We had our feast. I wanted to build up some new connections. And I felt like I had a great conversation with Courtney at the boathouses where we went to get the merge feast. And I'm like, because I connected with her when I went to the Eclipse too. And I'm like, I
Mm-hmm.
want to work with Courtney. She was kicked off. She came back. And I think I didn't know what a game player she was until a little bit later, but I said, I want to work with Courtney. I already started, building up a relationship with Mel. I want to
Mm-hmm.
get this other group going, this other alliance that I can work with to give me options.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that I have learned with playing is that you want to have lots of options, lots of
Yep.
ins and outs, a lot of connections to kind of keep you safe or aware of what's happening. And I was trying to do that with Courtney and Mel in a real honest way. I mean, I was just
Mm-hmm.
trying to find the best way to maneuver myself to get to the finish line. So when we merged, I was looking to build on that. I think if you recall, there was a challenge of holding the pipes. It was
And you
kind of
drop
dark.
immediately.
That was very well planned. I tried to drop before they did a countdown 10, and I dropped. And I fumbled all the way up. In fact, I never got it on the ball, and it probably looks pitiful. But what did that say?
Rafa
The
said
banana
I'd
pudding.
ask you about banana pudding at some point.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, I ended up dropping. Yeah, don't eat banana. Yeah, Eric's lactose intolerant. We had banana pudding. And yeah, everybody was hearing that. Everybody was hearing that. But anyways, I dropped the ball. So I was the first to go back. And I was like, beautiful, because I know there is something hidden somewhere. And so they were spacing people off. And I think Courtney was next. And I think maybe Aaron was behind. I'm not sure. But I wanted to make sure I was dropping first. So I'm walking back with this bag to make a flag with. They're kind of and it was wrapped with twine, like so much wrapping around. I'm like, there's something in this bag. And so I'm walking with Jess, and I'm like, Jess, we gotta run. I want to get down there as quickly as possible. So I'm unraveling it. I get to the new camp, which we actually liked. We liked the new camp. I opened it up, and there's paints, little bottles of paints, like 12 of them in there, paint brushes. And I'm not finding any idol. I'm not finding anything. And so I'm starting to look around with the tarps and supplies, open pots, and nothing's, I can't find anything. I'm like, I know it's here and I know it's obvious, but why am I not finding it? And then Courtney showed up, I believe. And then I told her, I looked through the paints. I can't find anything. I've looked over here, and we decided maybe we should just get some wood to start making it look like we're being productive, not looking for idols. So we started doing that, and I went back to the paints myself. I'm not sure where she was right then, but I was looking at them more carefully, and there was one that was light. I was like, there's nothing in this. And I opened it up, and inside, I think I have it here. And inside was a little picture of the tree. I think I showed it during the thing. Well, I did have it somewhere. I got so much loot going on over here. I don't know what's what.
You're Survivor rich.
Yeah, Survivor. Yeah, well, I got it somewhere. Anyways, it was a little picture of a tree that was sort of stuck inside. And I was like, I got to find that tree. So I think I waited. I think I told her I had some. Oh, here it is. There it is. And this also made another great TikTok video eventually. I love TikTok.
I know it's skipping ahead, but like the confessional, I think Courtney's talking with someone, and you and Sam wander up behind, kind of you're not really the focus, but you're just behind. Suddenly Sam's on your shoulder. She's grabbing the idol, and Courtney's just like, I guess he has it. It's kind of great comedy.
Yeah. So it was that next morning. So we didn't find it till the next day or so. And that next morning, I'm always the first one up making fire. So I get the fire going. Courtney gets up and Rafa's up, and the three of us are sitting there at the fire. And I was like, I got the clue. And I shared it with the three of them, because that's what I wanted. I wanted Courtney and Rafa and myself to build a connection. And I already had that with Sam. So I shared it with Sam. So the four of us knew it. And Courtney, I don't know who found it first, the right tree, but Courtney or Sam found the tree. So all four of us knew. So them seeing it was not any surprise, really. I think that just the fact that I had to get Sam up on my shoulders, and it was just so perfect that the four of us were there for that shot while everybody else was distracted and had no clue that we were, uncovering the idol. So Sam gets it down. She hands it to me, and in many ways, I thought that solidified a strong four. I thought.
Well, going into this merge vote, you end up voting for Joe, and Joe goes home. But what happened leading up to that vote? Was it clear cut, or was it very much like, was there clear battle lines, or everyone scrambling?
Well, that was before the merge. No, Joe went out when we were still.
Oh, no, Joe gets voted out again, right? Joe gets out. Joe comes back for redemption and gets promptly voted out.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I don't even remember. I think it was a pretty well focused, right? I mean, I think we all were kind of like, yeah, she's got to go.
I'm curious because, like, It's a 6-5-1. 6 votes Joe, 5 votes Leo, 1 vote Rafa. Sam votes Leah at this tribal council.
Yeah, that's when we start getting some difficulty with people. Let me just say, I was trying to stay out of it. I mean, Joe was the easy vote.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't want to think more. To be honest, that was not a vote I was thinking a whole lot on. It made sense with where the numbers were. I wanted to keep the yellow above the blue. So yeah, it was no question. And I was tight with Leah, but not super tight that we were, number ones with each other. But she was tight with Julian, and that was perfect. I was like, okay, let's keep riding this. I don't think she knew Julian and I knew each other. I think that was still a secret, I hope. But that was more ammunition for me. So anything Julian can keep building is going to help us to move on.
The next, so Joe's voted out at the final 11 tribal council. Anthony's going to win his second immunity in a row. I'm curious, did Anthony winning the first two immunities raise any eyebrows? Just like, hey, it's an ally. Good, that's good for my side.
No, be honest, I was very happy for him. I think we were still in good standing. I was excited for him. I had no issues at that time with Anthony. I don't think we were super tight, but we were together. We were together as the yellow. We were working together to keep moving forward. So our alliance was strong, but again, my bond with Anthony wasn't strong.
Yeah. So at this vote, it's going to be a pretty near unanimous vote on nay. What led to that?
I don't think it was going to be, but when we were sitting there in tribal, it became very argumentative. And there's, that was a vote where we were talking about having like a code word to try to switch it to somebody earlier on. We didn't have it planned out perfectly, so I don't think we would have been able to mastermind it. But it was clear there was sort of a fear to vote nay out for her reaction. And I didn't quite grasp that because I wasn't part of the other tribe.
Yeah.
And it happened. I mean, everybody witnessed it, and it was tough. It was tough to watch. There were a lot of emotions going on. I love Nay. I think Nay is great. And I'd love to sit down and talk with her more about that. I mean, Nay was so straightforward. I only had a few conversations with her, and I felt like every time I talked with her, she was telling me everything. She was telling me exactly what was going on and where things were going, and wanted to be upfront with people. And I kind of appreciated that, but it was kind of almost too much honesty. I was like, oh, you got to hold a little back.
Well, so
yeah,
I
was a little bit disappointed with the way that went, and I think I had a rather stern confessional afterwards that I hope comes out. I mean, I feel that the game we're doing should be lighthearted in many ways, and it should be fun, and we all should be enjoying it. And it's a game. It's a game, and this is something I need to talk with Danny about. Is when it's all said and done, it's a game. There's going to be a winner. There's going to be a lot of losers, a lot more losers than winners. And we should appreciate the time we spent with each other and the love we have for each other. That's my message.
There's games, but it's rare that we play games that last more than, 4 hours, right? Even rarer that we say, hey, I'm playing a game that's lasting 8 days, right? And
right.
I think maybe it's easy to not realize just this game can take a real emotional toll on people. And
it can. It absolutely can. And I think if my confessional comes out afterwards, I basically say, anybody coming to play these games really needs to assess why they're playing them, watch the games and see what's part of it, and realize that people are going to be cutthroat. People are going to vote you off. I mean, a couple of the games I played forward were very cutthroat. I opened my mouth and said a name, and I got out pretty early. We all do that. We all make that mistake. But we have to somehow realize that it is a game, and nobody's winning a gold medal here. Nobody's
Bragging rights.
You're getting bragging rights, but I love how the game. I would have. I mean, This is a classic Eric. I would have loved to have won, but I'm very happy and appreciative with all the experiences I got to play, all the people I got to meet. Some maybe we didn't bond together perfectly, but some were brilliant. Some I have friends that I know they're gonna last many years, and I'm excited to meet up with them again in other different ways.
I guess I'm curious. So you mentioned that you had a different plan coming into this vote and then shifted on to nay. What had been your plan coming beforehand?
So nay, we didn't think nay was a big threat.
Mm-hmm.
She's a big personality. And in my mind, it would have been a great play to look at somebody who we have bigger concerns with and make a play then, right? All the intention and all the attraction is going right on nay. We could have just sideswiped somebody so beautifully. I mean, in hindsight, sorry, Danny, this would have been a perfect move to get Danny out. But I love Danny. I would have done that to him. But that's that would have been a great play. That would have been amazing. And I think we could have pulled it off too. But
so we're at the final 10, and I kind of want to talk about a couple of things. The first is I guess threat management. How concerned are you about like your threat and how your perception to others? Is it just like I am who I am, I'm just gonna see how far I can get, or just like I need to downplay myself because if I do too much, who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah, so I was not to say I could have won a lot of those challenges, but it wasn't saying I was trying super hard on some of those challenges. Some of those weren't the best for me. The puzzles, the balancing aren't my expertise, but I wasn't worried, and it was time for me not to shine. I mean, I forget the one with the bar. So
yeah, this is the final 10 challenge, the push me, pull you challenge.
So that's a perfect one. So in my mind, and thinking my confessional, I don't think I was going to beat Rafa. Maybe. I mean, I did CrossFit for a number of years. I used to be a college rower, so I mean, I have a good upper body.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to raise my threat level. And then when they said they gave the option of somebody to take a shower and get clean clothes, I was all in. I don't know how many people were aware, but during the sumo challenge, which was probably one of my favorite events, going against Logan, I'm going backwards in time, but he surrendered on that raft, and that should have been a win for the yellow. And I tried so hard to leverage to get him off there with his super shoes on. He was like attached to that mat. And then the harder I tried to move him, I was scraping up my knees and my feet. So I basically removed skin from my body.
I remember seeing these, and they were pretty beat up.
They were super beat up. I couldn't wear shoes most of the time, so I was constantly cleaning and spraying, and it was a mess. I mean, I was able to keep playing. I just had to take some time if I was to get my shoes on to but yeah, it was kind of nasty. So when I had an opportunity to take a shower and clean off my wounds, I was like, yeah, I'm taking that. I'm gonna feel so good cleaning up new clothes. I don't know, there was a picture of me coming out after that, and I'd love to see those pictures or the little videos, like all the ladies were coming around me smelling. Because I don't know. I had all the nice fragrance on and clean. I even shaved. I shaved while I was in there. I was like, what a challenge. What a challenge win to take that over. I don't know. Get an immunity to increase my threat level.
We've talked about a lot about forming options in the merge. Now, again, it's the final 10. You have all 6 original yellow players still in the game, right? You additionally have this alliance with Mary Ellen and Courtney you're trying to cultivate. Anything else you have going on? Or do you feel like that the Courtney and Mary Ellen thing is becoming a real thing?
I wasn't sure, and I was going to try to keep building on it. I wasn't going to be throwing out either of their names. I was going to try to keep them safe. That was my gameplay there.
Mm-hmm.
I was with Courtney. I felt like I had a good connection with Mel. I was like, Mel,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where this is going, but I love the quality, and we called ourselves Quality In. I love our bond. I love our just being totally honest with each other. And like I said to you earlier, she's the only person I felt like she told it like it was, and I was telling her like it was. And what a great way to have somebody in a game that you could do that with.
Well,
yeah, what was the question?
I guess
I was thinking about Mel.
Checking on alliances. I want to talk about Aaron and his 2 idols, because I'm sure at this point you know he has 2 idols.
Yeah.
And I know Aaron's a person that you want to work with, but things are maybe like touch and go at times. Are you like, what are your thoughts on Aaron and his 2 idols, and are you looking to perhaps flush one?
Yeah. So if we go back just one play with Aaron, so when we split with the split tribes
on Leah with are you talking about the tribe swap?
The tribe swap.
Okay.
It was very strange because we would go to compete, and I kept trying to look over. I was looking over at Aaron, and he was like giving me nothing. He was stone face, focused, and I was like, "Hello, I'm your buddy over here." And I was really thrown off by that. So when we came back to emerge, I felt like I was trying to rebuild or trying to refigure out where we were at. And it did come up, and I think I did vote for Aaron, but we knew Aaron wasn't going out. I think Rafa and I both voted for Aaron. He wasn't, but it was just more of a move to get an idol out of the game.
So you're just trying to spook him at this point.
Yeah, in fact, I think we just told him to play an idol. I don't know if we knew he wasn't going. We knew he wasn't the vote, but we wanted to take one of those idols off. It was just 2 idols are too many.
So at the final 10, Rafa wins immunity. You have a shower. Leah's gonna be voted out here. She's gonna be the first yellow to go home. Talk me through the strategy of this round, because again, you're gonna cast a vote for Aaron, and when she's gonna play as that'll be nulled. What strategy is going on this round for you?
That's probably one of the votes I would have liked to have a redo on.
Okay.
Leo would have been so much better to still be in the game, and I think it was getting dangerous with Julian and Leah. It seemed like there was a push to separate them. Yeah, I'm trying to think how I would have redone that and who would have gone off on, but yeah, I probably needed to be closer with Leah and do a little more work with Julian to build up our grouping, and it just didn't happen. I'm not sure why it didn't happen. But that was probably a mistake on my part.
So
that vote right there, yeah.
Who did you think was going to go home this vote?
I think it was Leah. I thought Leah was going home, but I don't think that was a good gameplay for me. I mean,
so you knew
we're starting to get down in numbers, and it's like which piece does not fit for my game, and I think coming back to Danny and Mel, I think that was a duo that, as things played out more, I would have liked to have separated that.
Well, so let's do some
but
hypotheticals here.
you can't, you know, it's like you can't go back in time.
Well, let's just have some hypotheticals here. Final
Okay.
10. Who goes home instead of Leah? Who would you like to see go home instead of Leah?
I think Danny.
All right, so Danny goes home in 10th place. Now in the next vote, Julian's supposed to go out. Do you still want to see him go out there?
No, I would have liked to have seen Anthony go out on that.
Okay. So Anthony's immune, right? So Anthony's not going home this round. So who would you like to see? So who'd you like to see go home instead of Julian or Anthony this round?
Who do we have left in the game?
You have Courtney, Rafa, Mary Ellen, Aaron, and Sam. Leah, technically also Leah at this point too.
Wow. Here's where it gets really difficult because I had connections with all of them. And I was trying to weave my way through that. I mean, when I ended up learning about Courtney
and Rafa?
What's that?
How
Courtney and Rafa. Yeah, I think I should have cut it earlier with Courtney. She was dangerous. I didn't realize how dangerous she was. But see, here's the problem is I kind of needed her because she was making herself a big threat level 2. So, I mean, yeah, it gets real tricky because I didn't want Sam to go because I built up a tight relationship with Sam.
Yeah, so let's assume
maybe I want to cut it with Mel, but I didn't want to. It's tough.
Let's just say
Very tough
Courtney
because
goes home.
I go by. Sometimes I'm going by the heart. Going by the heart with my connections. Sometimes versus gameplay, and I think that's a mistake sometimes, right?
Yeah, I mean, let's say Courtney goes out, then Anthony's medevac. In your final 7, it's you, Sam, Aaron, Mary Ellen, Rafa, and Julian and Leah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that would have been a better combination, perhaps, to see them?
Then who? Then sorry.
Do you feel like that would have been a better final 7 to be in?
Yeah, it probably would have been.
I mean, but I do think it's interesting. Like, had Danny gone clipped early emerge, like you probably would have then been Sam's number 1, perhaps. I have to ask her to find out.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to. I really want to hear what she said. I think I was her number 1 for a good part of the game. And I think, I'm jumping ahead, but, I was the threat level. And if she was going to win, I had to go. And that's where it gets. What does that say?
So Jacob has a question asking, does Danny going out also pull Mary Ellen to you?
Yes, and it does. Yeah. I think it would have been. I would really love to hear what Mel has to say on that. But I think I was very close with Mel. I wanted to keep going with her. I was very much pushing, and the jury was pushing for her when in the final 4 to win. I mean, there's a part of me that likes, and this is not going to sound great, but there's a part of me. So I used to do a lot of cycle racing, and in mountain bike racing, it was you against the terrain, and oftentimes the best rider would win. And so that was, to me, the best winners. The best winners are top. Then road cycling, sometimes you just sit on the draft, you don't do much, and it comes to the sprint, and you come around and you win. I feel like Survivor, I feel like these games are like that, where you're playing the road race versus the mountain biking often, because it's not always the top.
It's positioning.
It's positioning. Yeah, it's positioning, and I like seeing, when I watch a Survivor show, or I like seeing the strongest players with the best resume to move forward, but that's not what happens, and that's the game.
Yeah.
So I mean, I needed to get in my mind, I needed to restore and get the best players there to fight it out in the final. But the heart comes into it, your connections, and dagnabbit, I thought I had Sam and Aaron getting me into the final four, but we're not there yet.
So at final 9, you have the Bush
Okay.
Guide Trivia Challenge. This is the challenge where immunities will be awarded after the votes are cast.
Oh
just
my
as they were moved.
gosh.
All right. How do you feel like you do in this challenge, and what leads you to wanting to vote for Anthony this round?
Oh, I did horrible. I didn't even look at the book. I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, I don't know.
We totally come
And
out the
then-
Survivor. They'll go to study in nature, right? That's the whole point of these games.
I don't know. I had no clue. I don't know if you watched that with the final. It says write down as many snakes as you remember. I just stop and put my paper down. Everybody else is writing furiously. I'm done. I was out. So here's the kicker is that we went back. Anthony went and sat on his stump he usually sits on next to the fire, and he starts going off how he failed it. He did so badly on it. And I'm like, why is he talking so much about? He was putting on a show. He knew he did fantastic on it. And I'm not sure. Rafa, I don't know if Rafa's here, but I think Rafa was the first to throw Anthony's name. I'm probably getting him in trouble. Maybe with somebody else. But his name came out, and I think people saw him as a threat, and just they weren't fully connected to him. And that was my kind of feeling. He's coming off really harsh at times. I'm not fully connected. We were up in the yellow. It's a good time to cut it, and he's bragging about how poorly he did. What a villain! He went off as the villain of the season, right? So congratulations to him.
Rafa says it wasn't me who threw out his name first, but everyone kept coming up to me and saying Anthony, so I went with consensus.
Yeah, I'm not. We'll need to figure out who started that.
Danny says it was me.
Danny, of course, Danny's. All right, Danny, I'll give it to you. But anyways, yeah, I don't know where it came from, but I think everybody was kind of like, is it Anthony's time? Is it Anthony's time? So it was circulating big time. And it was almost like he was drawing the attention to be him. And I'm not sure. I'd love to hear Anthony's feeling, because I know he knew his name was out there, but what was going on? What was going on in his mind, knowing that he was the vote and that he probably did really well in the, I don't know. There's a lot more. There's a lot of questions we need to hear from Anthony. And why did he vote for me?
Well,
I don't know. I was nervous, and I was not going to be going home with an idol in my pocket. So I was like,
it's a great intuition, because Anthony wins the tiebreaker against Rafa, and that moment you're just like, all right, I gotta play it.
Oh yeah. In fact, I think Anthony might have screwed up here, because I wasn't necessarily sure I was going to play it. I started reaching in my pocket, and he made a statement to me and a statement to Rafa about going forward. And then he made a comment when I was reaching in to pull. Oh, you're going to pull out your idol, aren't you? I was like, oh, I guess I am. So I think if he kept it a little more hush hush, I wouldn't have believed I was the vote, and I would have gone home. But yeah, I had a feeling, and I was like, I ain't gonna take any risks, and I don't need this thing burning a hole in my pocket. I'm playing it. And I was surprised Aaron played his idol then.
I mean,
I don't
honestly, if I knew the person who I voted for, who's getting majority of votes, is immune, and I don't know what's happening since, like, I probably play my idol too, especially because on the revote, you're like, wow, he's exposed the idol's pocket. What if we take him out now? So I think it was a solid defensive play.
Yeah, I think, in looking back, and I kind of knew, it's strange because this kind of went through my mind as we were walking, all voting for Anthony. It's like, we should be picking somebody else. And it's like, no, we're just doing Anthony.
Make it easy.
There was such a feeling, because we knew he had nothing. And he was confessing that he did awful on that, and I think we just all bought it. And it's like, he's just going home.
On the revote, Julian goes out, but you vote for Mary Ellen. How come?
I wasn't voting for Julian, and I couldn't figure out how to save him. I probably didn't. I probably could have tried. Things were happening so fast. There were so many different groups. I heard his name, and I heard another name, and I was like, damn it. And I'm not sure why the jump was on Julian. Again, it comes into the situation where you're starting to look at, okay, who's the other threat next to Anthony? And I think his is the name who just popped up and started circulating. And there wasn't, I didn't have a way to maneuver to change that. And I wasn't going to vote for him.
So Julian goes out.
Yeah.
After the end of the next immunity challenge, Anthony is medically evacuated. So I guess my question to you is, was Anthony going to be the next vote, or would you have tried to push for someone else to get voted out instead?
Anthony was going to be the next vote.
Okay.
Yeah, Aaron was going to make sure that was going to happen. And I was on board. I mean, my name was the one that came out. And I think, I love Anthony. Anthony's a great player. And the posture, I mean, this is what got Aaron a little upset, was when we came together after that.
Yeah.
I was the last one to come in. I don't know if there's video of that grouping. Was Anthony presenting that we are going yellow strong to the end. That's it. And that turned Aaron the wrong way. I wasn't aboard. I mean, you weren't. You when you're in one of those groups, say, "No, we're not."
And it's like, yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, and I think that's what some of the other groups was agreeing with too. It was like, we're gonna let Anthony say his piece about what he thinks we should do. But that's probably not what we're going to do. So I think he was probably going to be the next to go. Unless he kept winning. I mean, he started winning and he was doing a great job with those challenges. So I was quite impressed.
So one thing I don't know, and you'll have to help me through this, is when and how you get your second idol.
Oh. So after, we turned in the idol, it's like, okay, they got to place one. And we started looking. I mean, Rafa was looking, Sam was looking, I was looking, and my sense is they didn't place it right away, because when I ended up finding it, it was pretty obvious on a front corner, just behind one tree in on the ground. I need to ask that question: is when was that placed? But what ended up happening is we were looking and looking and looking and looking, and Juan had his camera on me. And I'm like, he's got his camera on me. So I kept looking, and I kept looking at my shoulder. It's like, he's on me. And so I just kept focusing an area, and there it was. It was on the ground. I grabbed it. I threw it in my shorts. I went down to an area, pulled the idol out, hid the rest of the material, and decided I was just going to keep that hush for a little bit. And then I wanted to tell somebody, and I told Aaron. I told Aaron I had the idol, and I think it circulated that I had it, but I don't know why I was so focused on Aaron the whole game. I felt like my experience with the Columbus Survivor and that whole group in Columbus and his connection there, I felt like we are bonded. That's what I felt in my heart. It's the deepest root I had with anybody besides Julian. And I was like, this needs to be real. This needs to move forward. And so that's what happened. I told him, and I forget if I told somebody else, but somebody else knew, and I can't remember how they were told. But
so you're at the final 7, right? It's you.
Oh, this is
Courtney,
the big vote.
Rafa, Eric. You're Eric. You, Rafa, Courtney, Mary Ellen, Danny, Aaron, and Sam. Can you rank
Yeah.
those players the most to least important to your game again?
Oh my gosh. You got these questions. They're so simple on paper, but they're so
They're
difficult
not
to say
easy.
because they're not easy because I was playing a number of groups there.
Yeah. So
And
let me rephrase.
right.
What were some of the options you were thinking about in getting to the end? Like, what were some final three configurations that you would open to you that you felt?
So looking at a strength play, I was looking at Rafa, Courtney, and myself. And then looking at a play that I felt good with that I thought I could end up in, getting these other, if that didn't work to get the other threats
Yeah.
out, was actually Sam, Aaron, and myself.
Mhm.
I mean, I was riding it with Sam, and I wanted to keep making that work. And as I keep saying, I mean, I wanted it to work with Aaron, and I wasn't sure if that was cemented or not. So those are kind of the groupings, and I was flexible. I was flexible by Mel being in there.
Was there anyone you did not want to sit next to at the end of that in the final seven?
I would have sat next to anybody.
Okay. Is there anyone
I
that you
felt
felt
like I felt like I could have carried myself. I felt like Rafa. I think Rafa and Courtney were great, and but I think I could have held my own. I think with how I played, my connections with the jury, with getting the idols, getting the mutinies. I think I had the resume to close that out.
So the way it's going to happen is Courtney goes in 7, Rafa 6, you at 5, and in the Courtney vote, it's going to be original yellow really kind of coming back together and voting out Courtney, with all the original blues voting for Rafa. In retrospect, was Courtney the correct vote here, or she just had to go, and this was and like because she was going to win everything?
I hope is Courtney on.
I've not seen Courtney. We have Danny and Rafa.
I was the swing vote.
Okay.
I was a swing vote, and Courtney came to me, and this was startling, because I thought her and Rafa were like, okay, we got a good tight, and she comes to me and spills the beans that her and Rafa are like enemy number ones, and he's got to go, and so she went on. She was very dramatic about it, and I was like, whoa, what just happened? And then I went to Rafa, and I was like, Rafa, what's the deal? And Rafa told me exactly what happened, and I think he kind of insulted her. Rafa, you can add a comment there, but it was very well said. And I was like, you know what? The man's telling me exactly what happened. And in hindsight, I would have loved to just grab those two and have a little love fest and say, guys, we can't do this. We cannot do this. We are sinking our own ship. And I think they would agree. I think hopefully Courtney and Rafa, please comment. I think they would agree that we were sinking our own ship with that play. We were better off just sucking it up and holding tight together. I think it would have been beautiful. I mean, that would have been a great option.
Rafa acknowledges it was the turning point in the game.
It was absolutely the turning point. And Courtney's gonna kill me when I say this. Do you know why? I mean, I was seriously toying, and at one point I said, Courtney, you know what? I want to prove to you, because I knew Rafa would cut me at some point. I said, and Courtney would probably do the same with me. But I said, Courtney, I want to prove to you that this is a real thing. Because she kept saying, I can't trust you, Eric. I can't trust you. And I'm like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And at one point I said to her, what does he say?
If she hadn't gone after me, it could have been the Final Four.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, absolutely. No. And I wish, I don't know, we needed a love fest right there. But here's what had me decide to definitely go with Rafa. Well, two things. One, you're better off with the devil you know than the devil you don't know. And I knew Rafa a bit longer, and he had always been straight up with me. I knew I was being played to some extent, but I knew what I was dealing with, and I knew we were tighter with yellow than with blue. But then what sealed the deal was what I'm calling Ricegate. Yeah, Ricegate. So I was hungry. I wanted to make rice for the tribe. I'm not a good rice maker.
Mhm.
I started the rice, and Courtney came over and she said, "Did you rinse the rice?" I'm like, "I don't rinse rice." And
I
she
don't
was
rinse rice
so,
either.
so upset. This is Ricegate. She was so upset and made a really big deal about it. And she would not eat the rice. It wasn't good rice. It was really bad, but
Did you
but she
over
would
or under?
not eat it. And it was Ricegate. And I said, you know what? If she's going to make such a big deal over Eric making rice, I'm done. So sorry, Courtney. Ricegate did you in at the end. And I said, we're going with Rafa. And yeah. But Rafa, we blew it. We blew it. That would have been beautiful if we just got together. But that's the game.
Courtney goes out 4-3. This is going to then be one of my favorite parts of the season. You get to go on a reward challenge with Aaron after Aaron wins Team
Oh
Pacific.
my gosh. Yeah. So Aaron won the challenge, which was way too quick. That game should have been a little longer, but it was cool because it spelled out dreams. I don't know if you saw that, but that was beautiful. And he picked Sam, and then he decided he had to pick one more person. And I think he already decided, I don't know if he disclosed this, but I think he already decided I was going with him, but didn't want to basically say I'm taking Eric. So he put a finger behind his back, and I was winning no matter what because nobody saw the finger behind his back. So the three of us went, and it was beautiful. And on the drive there, I knew Rafa was in trouble. I was like, okay, this is not going. And I felt that we cemented my final three with Sam, Aaron, and myself. I thought we cemented that. I felt really good with it. We had a great time. And I think I heard what Aaron said. I think I was too much of a negotiator of selling, getting the food that was so beautiful. We were not hungry. We were getting fat. We were putting on weight the last couple days.
You got
But
so much
brought
food, you're able to bring it back too, right?
Yeah, so we brought $40 worth of food, which is stuff we would have had to make. And I mean, Sam and Aaron were being so rational, but buying stuff we would cook up. And I'm like, no, let's get the hot stuff. Let's eat now. And yeah, Sharon from Pruitt's Quick Mart, go there, give them your money. They are awesome. Love those people. Shout out to Pruitt's Quick Mart. Yeah, so we had these beautiful sandwiches, beautiful fries. It was like 10 pounds I was carrying back, and it was more food than we can eat, and it was gorgeous. We just, be honest, there's always these moments where you just stop playing and you just enjoy. So we were enjoying our sandwich, and we were all in heaven right then and there. Or I was eating those fries. I don't know. I don't know if everybody else was, but that was great.
So you get back to camp. Mary Ellen has one immunity. And at what point do you realize, like, oh no, it's me or Rafa?
With I felt pretty confident it was Rafa. Just with the connections I had a better connection with Sam. I think I had a better connection with Aaron, and I think I had a better connection. I know I had a better connection with Mel. And I was still trying to figure out Danny at that point, because Danny was really upset when I voted out Courtney. And it made total sense, but I was a little bit surprised, and different things came out then. And I think at that point I realized that Sam and Danny knew each other, and I was like, oh my gosh, these are connections that shouldn't be on the table. And yeah, I knew it was going to be Rafa. And at that point, you saw what I did. I mean, I gave my big speech, and it was from the heart. I mean, some people were saying I heard that, you know, it was flashy for the jury. It was not. I was not, in my mind, doing that for the jury. I was doing that because I wanted to. So I still wanted to win over Aaron, and I wanted to win over my connection with him because I saw he was hurt, and I was trying to understand it. And I was really trying to connect to him on a personal level, that I want to be there for you during this game and after this game. If you have things you want to discuss, I'm happy to be that person to discuss it with you. We're oftentimes thrown into situations where we feel like we're forced in one direction, and we don't want to go that way. And sometimes we don't know how to get out. Here, I'm starting that long speech again. I know I was starting to bore people, but it was from the heart. I mean, I was really feeling for him, and I knew Rafa was going. I knew I was safe, and I knew it didn't make. I could have played the idol on myself. I couldn't have played it on Rafa. If I played it on Rafa, there would have been 2 votes for me, 2 for Danny. There would have been revoting, and I would have gone out.
I would have gone out. Interestingly, there was only 1 vote for you. So like there is a world.
No, but there was only 1 vote because I think Aaron might have split it. I think
Aaron may have changed his mind and changed.
I think he changed his mind, but I think there would have gone 2 and 2 or something.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have made sense because they think they knew I had an idol. So I decided I wanted to see what Aaron would do with that idol. And yeah, what a crazy play, huh?
Maybe you get up and hand him your idol. I mean, it's not.
I give it to him. I wanted to show him that I was fully committed to playing it out, and that I was him. I was with him.
So
I knew I was with Sam. So I shouldn't leave this part out. I had a great connection with Sam, and that rode through the whole game. And her and I had an amazing bond. I smoked I don't smoke. I smoked a cigarette out on Reelfoot, and I don't know why I did, but but I never have. You know, it's one of those things where I've seen her smoking all the time. It's like, you know what? I want to experience what it's like to inhale. And so at 57 years old, I inhaled. How do you like that one? So I gave it to Aaron, and I wanted to see what he was doing with it. And be honest, in terms of my thought process, I was disappointed he played it on himself, or even played it. I think he should have just kept it.
What if he played
I don't know, maybe that sounds really strange, but I was disappointed he played it on himself.
What if he played it on you?
I think that would have given him a lot of I think I would have had a lot of respect for him. I mean, I told him I was going for Rafa. I voted for Rafa. I saw where it was going. Writing was on the wall. I think he should have played it on me.
So one thing I asked Aaron in my conversation with him is, what if Eric gives you the idol and you vote him out? Now that'd be a big villain move, but one of the questions was like, what would Eric then feel like if that happened? So let's say Aaron does vote you out here after giving the idol. Does that just, are you like going like, I can never vote for Aaron now, I'm going to be totally against him? Or be like, oh my gosh, villain of the season, I'm here for it. Like, from what scale, where would you be at if Aaron had done that to you?
It would have been an even tougher jury discussion when I got up there. Yeah. No, that would have been a really bad play. I mean, that would have looked bad for the jury. What's that?
Good he did not do that then.
He would have not have done that.
Good that he didn't.
Good that he didn't. Yes. Very good that he didn't.
I
mean, the jury, I mean, well, we'll get there. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's interesting, like, your idol unfortunately just didn't have good targets, really, these 2 rounds.
No.
No,
I mean, I'd love to hear other people's thoughts on how I could have done something differently. I mean, I don't see how it would have panned out,
I mean, I think
there was that
Rafa would have
connection.
liked it. I think Rafa would have liked it if you played on him, but like then you
He
go
would
up.
have, he absolutely would have loved to have played on it, but it would have been the worst move for me.
No, it would have been a game-ending move.
A game-ending move. It would have been foolish. And he knew that. He knew that. It was, I mean, it wasn't, he understood what was happening. And if he could have done something or thought up something, I would have loved to hear it, but we were stuck.
How do you feel walking into the final five?
I knew I was in trouble, but I thought I had built up Aaron to I don't know why I was so focused on Aaron. I knew I had Sam, and yeah, it was the Danny element is what really messed me up. Thanks, Danny. I hope you're still here. Yeah, I needed Danny out. I didn't answer the question. What was the question?
No, you answered. How are you feeling? The answer is not great. Really banking
Not
on
great. Not great. I felt like I was 50-50. I really did. I thought like I was 50-50 getting through. And I knew I needed to get to the 4.
And so
I sold my soul to Aaron. Oh yeah, I had to win. So that was amazing. So, Sam, I was always an ally of Sam. I was always cheering for Sam. And when Sam won that final 5, I couldn't believe it. I mean, did she cheat? I think somebody needs to double check because I don't know how she finished that so quickly. I do know she used the support to build the tower, which I guess was legit. I never heard that was legit, but I was so far behind. I was still counting matches. I don't know. And her logic, I don't know. I think she was definitely a little lucky with some of her math. She said she counted the matches. It looked like 100, and she did 100, and then she subtracted 2, and she got it right. I was like, what? How do you do that? So that, I mean, I absolutely love that she won that. I was cheering for her, but I knew I was in trouble. Yeah.
And so what do you do when you go back to camp after the challenge? Who are you pitching and how are you gonna get through this?
I was pitching everybody except for Danny. Because that's when, this is when I learned that Danny was connected to everybody and nobody was going to vote for Danny. So it was either going to be Mel or me. That's the only combination I could figure people were going to play for. I mean, I'm trying to think if I could have got Sam to go for Aaron instead, but I don't think so. So it was either for Mel or myself. And I knew I couldn't win over Danny's vote because Danny was so connected with Mel. And so I had to pitch Sam and Aaron really hard. Sam said she was going to vote for Mel. She said she was going to protect me. I went to Aaron and I sold him my soul. I basically told him, I said, you get me to the final 4 and I'm gonna help you get to the victory. If you're there, if I'm the jury. And he said that. I don't remember. I actually listened to, and I was planning on that. And I think I had, I may need to confirm. I haven't confirmed this because it's not, some ways it's important and not important. I think I had Aaron and Sam agreeing to move me forward. And then Danny, the villain, the true villain, Mr. Nasty of season 14, I think basically said, no, Eric's too much of a threat. We got to get him out. And I think that was it. I think that was it.
So your main, I guess, were you actually saying, "Hey, you need to keep me in the game, otherwise I'm going to vote against you on the jury"? Was that something that was coming up at all? I know you were
No, I
saying,
was
"Hey,
not going to
even before I'll
say
advocate for
no.
you."
No, I was not pitching I was going to go against him.
Yeah,
I was pitching I was going to go for him. I
yeah,
mean, that's a negative.
yeah.
I'm not going to give him a negative. I'm giving him a positive.
The carrot approach.
Yeah, yep. And um, I don't know. I think the writing, you saw what happened.
Yeah.
I think he might have been better served to get me in. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. But um,
Well, you were voted out 4-1.
yeah,
I mean, looking at that Final Four immunity challenge, how do you think you
I
would
would
win?
have I would have killed that.
So maybe the right call.
I would have killed that. I mean, I've been running. I mean, I did the running part of one of the challenges and I was ready to blast it. And I had the right shoes on. Um, yeah.
So,
Yeah,
wa-
that was all me. I was waiting for a challenge like that had some type of endurance and yeah.
so
I was
walking
crying. I was crying when I saw that. I was like, "Oh my God."
so walking out of the game, what are your thoughts on the players who are left? So at that point, it's Mary Ellen, Sam, Aaron, and Danny.
Um, well, Aaron won, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I mean, I've said this already. I mean, I was definitely closer to Mel than Danny. So, I mean, with those four, I would have liked to have seen Sam, Aaron, and Mel go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, sorry, Danny, but I was really disappointed. Mel didn't get a chance to go for fire. I think I would have done that. She supported Danny the whole way, and I mean, I think if she went back, she might have changed her mind, and maybe she would have been supporting me, and we would have done something differently um, in the play. And it's that's a tough one. That's a really
Yeah.
tough one. I
So
mean,
I guess.
I was surprised. I was surprised her question. I mean, I'm jumping forward, but um, yeah, he should have given her a chance, and I think it would have helped him on the jury. I mean, that was the interesting part was when I got over there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was excited because I realized how well I had done, and I think I would have gotten the votes of the jury.
Mm-hmm.
And the next votes that the group consensus was on was Mel.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it is good. I mean, in terms of that, the threat level, I mean, Mel was the next bearer of the jury's vote before any questions.
So Maryland's voted out. I'm
Yep.
curious because you're the first juror I've talked to. Of Aaron, Danny, Sam, what was the jury mentality like on the three of them going into that final tribal council?
It was Aaron. It was Aaron.
Okay.
The only people who were swaying was Nay and myself, I think. I mean, I'm sure people say other than this, but I think Nay and I were the only ones who vocally were saying they had a little roundtable talk. I think Trevor came over and had a little talk with us, and they asked who was decided on who they were voting for. And I think only two people threw out a name, and that was Nay and myself, and we both said Sam.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess, in other words, why were you leaning towards Sam going into final tribal council?
So I liked the story. I liked that, the eclipse was such a brilliant play, although we didn't really like it.
A lot as a player, as
And
a dealist.
she came in and battled against that,
Mhm.
stuck it out, and then she started winning, and I think she had a great story and representation for the season as being somebody who sometimes is underestimated. You want her to vote her out. She was kind of the first vote out thought, and surviving through that, building the right connections. She probably had me as a shield. She had Rafa as a shield. She had the connections with Danny. She had the connections with Aaron. There were connections that I wasn't aware of that she had, and I was blown away when I started learning about some of these. And I think her play, in my mind, was the best representation of the season. I think Aaron, I love the guy. I think, I was playing for him. In fact, in my confession right after I lost, I think I said, I think he should win. But as I started thinking about it, and then when I was up doing the jury, even more so, because I think I said I wasn't fully decided whether I was going with Aaron or Sam, was I was disappointed that, in my mind, he didn't make the big plays that he could have, and was riding the groups, including me, to his advantage, but not making the big moves or the plays with it. And that was, that was my feeling. And I would be honest, I'm not going to use the word bitter, but I think, I would have liked to think that from the start when I I started day one with a man, and I think the connection we had should have been a lasting one. And I was a little disappointed with how he played out different idols for himself. It wasn't as beautiful as I would have liked to have seen it when I think it could have been. I think he had opportunity that could have made it shine more. In my mind, I don't know.
In terms of Danny, how were you perceiving his game? Like, what was
so, and this is, you heard me say this in the beginning. I was a little bit, I underestimated Danny with the connections he had, but I didn't understand it more until I learned more about his gameplay. And Danny, you're a villain, and you played a great game. But I knew he wasn't getting the jury vote. There was nobody seeing that. There was nobody representing that Danny played a great game.
So do you think Danny lacked advocates on the jury?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was the only blue left, and I think he should have had more. I mean, rightfully so. He should have had Mel's vote. No, right? If anybody, yeah, and that's the side that you get to see when you get to the jury. When I told him he had zero chance of winning when I got up there to speak, it was true, and I wanted to give Aaron and Sam the best shot of dueling it out, and I wasn't sure how close it would be until I sat back down after I gave my spiel, and then it was all going Sam.
Anything else about Final Tribal Council you want to talk about?
It just goes to show how important that final council is, tribal council is. I mean, same thing happened in Outlast my season. You had two people that played a great game, very even in many ways, but one just is able to express themselves, stand up, and give a strong rationale of why they deserve to be there. And I think Sam, who I made stand up on purpose, I said, stand up, shout, scream for yourself. And she did. She outperformed Aaron when it came to speaking, and basically saying that, she did what she needed to do, and she got there and standing up for it, and proud of how she feels. I mean, Aaron, I think, did a great job, but I think he started floundering, and he started, talking about mountains. And when he said mountains, I go, what are you talking about? A mountain climbing? And it was, it was a neat representation, but I think it missed the mark. to talk about the season and to talk about, I mean, I think he should have pitched a little harder, the comeback kid, and being on the bottom and building up his rapport, and just started pointing to each of the jury's members and saying either why he had to vote them out or why, something. I think he needed to connect. I think he needed to connect with the jury. And I think that might have helped him. But
so you cast your vote for Sam?
I cast the 2 votes for Sam.
Oh, that's true. There was a challenge that the jury.
There was a little challenge, and they didn't tell us till you got up there. So there was a little ball in the little maze, and I think I did it like 9 seconds. I just went for it.
Wow.
And they said when you got up to the voting booth, if you won, you'd have 2 votes. And so I got up to the voting booth, and everybody could see the voting booth, and I had the 2, and I just raised them up in the air. I was like, I got them. I think everybody saw that. And I wrote Sam, Eric number 1, Sam, Eric votes number 2 with a heart.
How was the after party?
The after party was great. I think it's tough. I mean, there's a lot of mixed emotions, people coming off of that. Danny didn't want to speak to me. Danny, call me. I want to speak to you. Aaron had a tough time, and you know what? I love Aaron, and I can't wait I know we're going to meet up again. And he was sitting out on the back deck when he finished, and this is before the party, and he was getting ready to clean up. And I went out and sat there with him, and just had a special time just talking about loving playing this game and how awesome he was. And Rafa came out too and shared in that moment. And, the 3 of us just sat there looking off, over the field where we played, and just we almost sat quietly for a few minutes. He didn't need to say anything, just feeling what a great game we played. We're kind of tired. We've a lot of emotions going on, and we should all be proud. And that's what I was feeling. I think it was a great game, and Aaron did fantastic, and Sam did fantastic, and Danny did fantastic. It was great, and they all 3 deserved to be right where they were.
Is there anything else about your time at Reelfoot you want to talk about that we haven't had a chance to dig into?
I think just what a special organization it is. I mean, the whole group that comes together, with the way they go through auditions, with the way that they team up and put on the handlers in the tribe were fantastic. We had Trevor, Storm, Juan, and Jess, and they really made the experience so much more fun. And it was special too to have Jess part of that, because I had my experience with her in Outlast and then production with Outlast. And what a great feeling to go through that, be connected, and have as I said before, friends for life, I hope. I'm excited to talking plans with a few people on something, and I'm hoping maybe have something in the future to show. Yeah,
I'm here for it.
Okay, so
well, as a wrap up, I have a couple of rapid fire questions for you. You ready?
Okay, let's do it.
Your next Survivor game you play, would you rather be the ultimate hero or the ultimate villain of the season?
Oh, I'm the hero. I tried to be the villain. Forget it. You can ask. There's a number of people. I wonder if they're on here. Eric tried to be a villain. Nuh-uh.
If you can go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice before playing Reelfoot, what would it be?
Oh goodness. Probably have a little more focus at a certain point on the final 3. I think I was looking at the time and looking at the vote, and I don't think I was looking as far ahead. I think it's a mixed message because I don't think you can look far ahead, but I think in some ways you need to. You need to be focused on running through the combinations that are going to get you there. And I think I had something in my head and it disappeared a couple times. So maybe more planning there, but the ultimate thing though, and is just to continue to have fun. Enjoy the people you're with, enjoy your connections. I mean, I'm not answering a different question now, but
As long as it's something you would tell yourself back in time.
Yeah. I don't know. I like to think I could be more ruthless, but I think I don't know. I think I play from the heart too much too. I play from the heart. I don't, when you kept asking me who would I vote out, it's like, well, I don't want to vote off anybody. And there's that silly question, when they ask in the tribal, where are you going to go from here? And Eric says, I don't want anybody to go home. Let's just split the money. It's not really the right answer, but it's how can you be a villain? How can you pull out those villain vibes inside you that are, the little devil on your shoulder, and how can you listen to him and do that move that you probably should have done? And maybe that's what it is, going back and thinking about the Anthony vote, we should have had a vote out for somebody else. Thinking about the Nye vote, is we could have had a great plan in there. And what is nice for a long game like this, you do have the time.
Danny,
yeah, I know you can't, Danny.
Learn his way.
Danny, I'm taking the lessons. You got to start a course because I'm signing up. I'm all in. But yeah, I think yeah, maybe I say I like to be the hero, but maybe there is some tactic on how to be a better villain.
What was your favorite challenge?
This is going to be a weird one. It's the one where they were doing the maze ball, and I was doing the running, and it wasn't the funnest challenge, but it was the greatest sense of victory. So when we won that, I felt defeated because, I was feeling defeated because I did the running, and I did a great job running, but I wanted to be down on that maze moving that thing, because I was probably one of the stronger people, and I didn't realize how hard it was. And we had Sam, one of our lightest, and she's trying to move that raft and it's not moving. And I was like frustrated. And then we won, and we needed a win. And I was on the mat sitting down, and I burst into tears. It was just, I don't know where it even came from. I was just so emotional. It was probably the most emotional moment for me in the entire game. And it didn't make sense in some ways, but it was like a win we needed. And I was so happy for the group. I was so happy we pulled it out as a team, all of us, from the weakest to the strongest. It didn't matter. We pulled it out, and that was beautiful.
What was your favorite moment at camp?
It was sitting under the stars with Vito, Danny, Joe, Rafa, Sam, and just sharing special moments together. Hands down, that was the best moment. I would just want to go back there. I just want to be back with that same group. I mean, Vito was such a special person. Joe, I really got to have a special time. Sam's, Rafa, all of us. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful.
Who do you wish you had a chance to work with, but did not have an opportunity to do so this game?
I think if Joe and I were on a team together, that would have been kind of cool. I mean, I think we have similar sort of styles, and I think we didn't hit with the way we connected. And I realized after learning more and watching her in like Barefoot and Afraid, which I love seeing here and there, I think we would have had been a good duo. And same thing with Jenna. I think Jenna and I could have made a great team if we just had more time.
Who surprised you the most out there?
Who surprised me the most? I think that had to be Sam. I mean, I wasn't, I wasn't jumping on Sam originally with a bond, but it just built and built and built. And I said, you know what, this smoker, she's got something going. So proud of her. And yeah, she deserved that win. No question about it. And I was so excited for her to take that victory.
Now, Reelfoot is having a returning player season next year. Who is one person in your cast, besides yourself, you'd like to see come back and play again?
Oh, I wonder what I wonder how they're picking. Well,
I mean, there's an application. So if you're a Reelfoot alumni, you got to apply for this one. Other than that, I don't know, man.
Yeah. That's tough because it's like, do you want to see somebody who was booted earlier to give a better chance, or do you want to see somebody represent? I think it should be somebody who represents. I think it's just putting some of the best players together. I don't know. Besides myself, I'd say besides myself, I'd like to see Courtney back in there.
Okay. Well, Eric, I think that's all I have. Thank you so much for the last 2.5 hours. I had a lot of fun, and I really appreciate hearing.
Oh, it was a blast. Blast. Thank you so much, Stephen. That was great. And I hope we get to connect sometime in the future too.
Fingers crossed. I mean, someday I'll be able to apply the Outlast, and it'll work for my schedule, and I'll make the cast. So fingers crossed. I'll get their boss done eventually.
I'll be on production on that in a few weeks.
Okay. Well, I hope the season goes smoothly, and you have a great cast, and there's no rain.
Oh, a little rain is fun though.
I mean, it's rained on me in almost every game I played. It's fun to endure, but I don't know if I look back and say I love being wet and miserable. It made I don't think I've ever looked back and like, boy, highlights.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. This has been another episode of the Live Reality Game Podcast. This is one of many postseason interviews that I am doing. Eric is merely the third. More down the way. I will hoping to talk to Mary Ellen probably next Monday. I know I have one scheduled with Sam. We have to push it back from this Sunday to a couple of weeks from now. So stay tuned. We'll hear all of Sam's thoughts in the near future, and I will slowly make my way through the rest of the cats. So thank you again, Eric. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and have a great rest of your evening.